Hi guys, my name is Maria Park and this is Approach to Nerd. And in this episode, we are here with my good friend, MasakoX, which I know a lot of you know because if you're a big Dragon Ball Z fans, and you probably are if you're watching this video, he is Gohan, and I believe, were you Goku as well from Dragon Ball Abridged?
Oh yeah. I played Goku and Gohan in DBZA. Yeah.
Yes, so we are going to have a lovely chat about his time with Team 4 Star and some other questions. But first, if you have not subscribed to his channel, he has his own channel. It is called MasakoX. I will put it in the description below. But yeah, we're going to talk. And you know how we do it here at ATN, guys. We are laid back, so we just say whatever.
I like
So
the
let's
sound of that.
start. Let's start with the first. Why MasakoX? Why do you have the name MasakoX?
Okay. Well, it all started back in 2004. I needed to find like a name for like a forum because I was part of this group called Animated Diversions, and it was a nice little forum, and I was really not sure what to call myself. And I was about like 17, 18. I didn't really have an identity online. I didn't really have a name. So I thought, well, how about let's just go back to Dragon Ball Z, and with Masako Nozawa and her work as Goku. And I still admire it to this day, just the sheer range and pipes on now 80, nearly 85-year-old lady, still kicking it out there. So it was a tribute to that. And for many years, it was going like, Masako, isn't that a girl's name? I'm like, yes, I know. And as for the X, because I tried to get Masako on AOL Instant Messenger, and that just shows how old I am. But Masako was taken, so I thought, just literally go on a keyboard, X. Oh, it's not taken. Okay, so that's how you get the X, and obviously it's extreme.
And it actually sounds cool, so I get it. I get it. Okay. So I don't remember what year I met you. We did a lot of like amateur voiceover stuff together. I think
Most
you were
likely
in some of my stuff.
2005. That's when I started.
2005.
That's when I joined the VAA.
Okay, so yeah, a bit, and I think me and Jennifer Lee were probably 2001 or 2000. It was pretty long ago. So this is way before your transition with Team 4 Star. So how did you go from VAA to getting with Team 4 Star, and then of course Dragon Ball the Abridged?
Okay, well, yeah, obviously from the days of us doing Sentai fan dubs together, as well as the odd Aquarion dub. Yeah, I still remember those.
Oh, I'm old. You're aging me right now.
Well, it's aging me too, so if we're in it together. But basically, I got working with Hideki on the VA, known as now Vegeta 3986, and we did a Karin fan dub of one episode, and we worked really well together. We did like a blooper special, and we actually gelled well together because we made these bloopers up, and it was just like, oh, this sounds funny. It's like it's like a little parody. But then Little Karibo does his Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series, and we thought, well, how about we do it with an anime that we know something about, like maybe Naruto or something, because it got quite popular the year before. Because everyone was saying Otakon 2005 was like riddled with Naruto cosplayers. Basically, I then thought, well, okay, let's just give it a try. And I even asked Little Karibo, hey, can you do a little cameo in our first episode? And he said yes. I wasn't expecting him to. So that means you hear Martin doing a little cameo in the first episode, which lent a lot of credibility for us. I mean, Martin was the first Abridged series in the form factor, but we kind of were like the next ones to make people really realize, hey, we could actually try it too, popularize it. So we kind of went from there. So it goes from there. And then a couple of years later, we saw other people in the first wave, like Kaiser Neko, Wani Pator, Takahata, and many others, with HBI2K, of course, for Berserk Abridged, and all these different Abridged series. And we all liked each other's work, so we got talking to one another. And ultimately, Kaiser wanted to think, well, okay, why don't we just pull the bite the bullet, sorry, to do one about Dragon Ball Z. There had been actually 5 DBZ Abridged at the time that were already being made. And back in the day, if you did an Abridged series and if someone else did it, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. Yeah, so you get that. So Kaiser just asked us all, because Lanny, Vegeta, and myself, we were doing Neighborhood Club productions of the first 2 DBZ movies Abridged. So Kaiser just asked, well, can you reprise your role as Goku? I'd like you to. And I was immediately jumped on it. I was like, yeah, sure. Absolutely. Then I didn't play Gohan in the first episode. That was Vegeta. But then I got switched out and I played Gohan from episode 2 onwards.
Which is pretty cool. I actually have heard a lot of, my daughter's a huge fan of the Abridged series. So that's how I knew you were involved, because I literally am horrible at keeping up with people that I've met and friends that I have. But I'm in my 40s, so probably have dementia. But my daughter like showed me some of the episodes, and oh my God, they are so well done that at first I thought I was watching Funimation's Dragon Ball. It was hilarious. But okay, so you mentioned the Naruto Abridged. You did that first, right? Before?
Yes.
Okay. So how did that go over? Because is that what drew interest? Do you think that's kind of what put you on the map in terms of you getting? Okay, so that's your big come out role online, basically, is what I want to say.
Yeah, that was the breakout moment, because basically it got to the point where, I mean, for the first few episodes, a lot of people were basically going, hey, you're copying little Karibo. How dare you? And then about episode 7, it became clear, I think, like, to people that we were actually serious, and we really started to gain some traction from there. And it got to the heady point in 2007 of my channel having 18,000 subscribers.
Pretty good.
And back then, yeah, big deal back in 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the thing that got us out there. And yeah, people thought that editing, because I studied editing at university. So I was working on that in post-production. So this was sort of helping me gain an understanding of it. So I was learning. I was
just like your portfolio, right?
Yeah, sort of. Yeah, I wouldn't show my tutors or anything like that. But I mean, even now this day, I tell them what they do, and my two of my tutors who still are at the university I was at, they're always happy to see me. I always come back for alumni days, and just like they're always just happy to see me and happy to hear what I'm up to.
Which is pretty cool. So let's talk about YouTube and copyright and claims. So I know back in 2007, 2008, I don't know why we could get away with what we got away with by posting videos on YouTube, but it seemed easier to post a Abridged series back in those days than it is now, where you can get a copyright claim for whispering the word Dragon Ball Z. So is that why we don't see any more Dragon Ball Z episodes? Was it getting too hard with?
Partly.
Okay.
Partly. There was a multitude of factors for that. I mean, the best person to ask is Kaiser Necker, because he is the showrunner of the series. But I mean, even when we were like recording episode 60 of DBZA, we kind of were going into it that this is going to be the last one. And I was at KamehamehaCon, which was a Dragon Ball Z convention in Texas at that time. And I stopped by at the guys' headquarters in Dallas, and I thought, well, okay, why don't we like record? Why don't we record for it while I'm here? So I recorded all the Gohan, Goku lines. But there was a real sense of finality of it. Like, really, like, this is the end, really. And it was quite sad, actually. I remember because, like, there's, there's Scott, there's Amber Lee Connors, who's the ADR director for the latest series, once Sound Cadence helped us with our recording setup. Just them there, and I'm in the booth, and it was really emotional. But I think ultimately it was a mixture of like dealing with the auto copyright things, because Toei it's not manual claims, it's automatic claims. And we usually do the counterclaim thing, and there's no response. Like, so automatically the claim lapses and the video goes back up. So it's like, I think that was just the frustration of it, that Toei were sending out these bot claims, but then not following up on it. So it's like weird. It's very, very strange. And even nowadays, I think after 12 years, I think any court would laugh Toei out of there and be like, they've been doing this for 12 years. How come you've allowed them to do this? And also, any advertising ads you see on DBZA episodes, that revenue goes to Toei. And I imagine over the years, probably they've seen about 6 figures. I imagine they probably made back any damages or anything like that. So I'm pretty sure everything is actually hunky-dory. So it's just a case of, it's sad and all, but it does wear us down. And partly it was just like, well, we kind of want to do productions where we don't have to worry about takedowns or copyright claims and stuff like that.
Which makes sense. Yeah, I know that the system for YouTube is it's problematic at best, because you're not normally dealing with a human counterpart. It's usually a bot.
It's slightly better in that you can find things that are copyright of your material, and also you can trim things out at least now. Yeah, you can at least do something about it without having to take the whole video down.
Yeah. So how does that work with videos now? Like, are some of the videos even that are currently still viewable or online, are they under copyright, or do they consistently get flagged?
The most simple claim is that the people in question just take the revenue, because a lot of companies now just think, well, hey, instead of just like getting rid of the video entirely, why don't we just take the money, just get the revenue for it? And it's a lot easier. Like, if you do a Disney cover, Disney doesn't take the video down or give you a strike. They just take the revenue, or they share split the revenue with you. They just go, well, this might get millions of views, so why don't we make a little, make a couple of $100 out of it? So a lot of companies now are understanding that it is better to not put the ban hammer down, but instead just like, just claim the revenue.
Which is a double-edged sword for content creators, unfortunately.
But at least the video stays up.
At least the video stays up, yeah.
It can lead to a subscription and a valuable viewer.
Okay. I mean, I can't argue with that until I get one and then I scream. But so let's talk about, I read somewhere online recently that you had a crush on Videl, and I didn't. And then I went to your channel and I noticed your past 3 or 4 videos were all Videl themed. So I'm like, it's just pushing that fact, like right there. What is it about Videl that MasakoX, especially at 15 years old, had a crush on?
Okay, well, most of all nowadays, with Videl, it's just like my standards have changed. For a start, I am married, so I am spoken for. But again, my wife says it's okay. You can look at the menu, you just don't order anything off the menu. As in, like, you're allowed to look, no touch. So, like, okay. But in any case, with Videl at the time, it was just like, when I was 15, it was like, anime was relatively new to my world, and Videl was just like, oh wow, okay, that's just the attitude, the tomboy, like the tomboys were all that I liked a tomboy when I was 15, and and also it was the world of DBZ Rule 34. I suddenly discovered that when I was 15. Not supposed to. My dad did catch me, and I was frantically, but he was like, oh no, I'm not worried at all. And it's just like, and he did, and again, he was a man set in his ways. I'm just glad you're not gay. But I'm like, again, set in his ways, and obviously everyone's partial to that. But I am a cis dude, and I do like my women. And Videl just really took my breath away. And the artistry that I saw in Rule 34 was very, very enticing for a young man. But realistically, Videl, from now storyteller's point of view, it's more like, it's a very interesting example in that this character is somebody who's very antisocial, has a father who's a bit of a buffoon, yet somehow gets all the plaudits, but she knows the truth. She knows the truth about her dad. He means well, but he is a bit of a fraud. And she is really sort of like cocooned in her own shell. She isolates herself. She doesn't like making friends or being social until she meets Gohan. And Gohan is a breath of fresh air, much like how Android 18 finds Krillin a breath of fresh air, different from the usual men she would normally frequent with. With Videl, Gohan is simple, straightforward, honest, and just endearing. And just that relationship is just so sweet. It really is. But for Videl, it's just like, for this one, I felt like I wanted to do a what if special for the month of December, to go from one part of the story to the other, like cover the Z portion of Videl's journey if she actually trained with Gohan more. And I'm working on this with my what if cohorts, Haverock and Sophie B. Powerhouse. So it's a 3-way effort, and I basically write down the main script proper. We the three of us like sit down, take notes, and make sure we do the plot points beat for beat, so we know how the story's going to go. And there are some really interesting bits that we're taking into account here, so we're looking forward to more of the series developing over time.
That is awesome. Well, I'm glad that you broke down Videl, because you did it in a way that is interesting, because the next thing I wanted you to do, which was a request by my own daughter, she said, if you were a therapist, how would you treat the following character? So I'm going to name a Dragon Ball character. Mm-hmm. You break down what you think is wrong and what you would do, or what advice you would give them to fix their problem. So number 1, Goku.
Okay, well, I've just got to get into a full therapist type thing here. So you see, with Goku, it's all about dealing with the selfish nature of his character, in that he doesn't seem to understand what other people like and the consequences of his own actions. So the best thing to do is for not to use the Dragon Balls, as well as discover there is more to life than baked goods. Have you ever considered trying croutons? A salad, perhaps? Something maybe with a little less red meat in there? Maybe lay off the gumdrops and ice cream. But in all honesty, Goku just needs to understand there is more to life than just Vegeta. There is his wife, after all. She can definitely steer him in the right direction.
If he stayed home long enough to see his wife.
That is very true.
Okay, so the next one she has on the list is, she said, poor Yamcha.
I would, with Yamcha, it's just, do get a grip. Get a grip. You are a world-famous baseball player with a lot of money, although in Super, it looks like he is living in a rundown hut, despite the fact he is a successful baseball player, the best baseball player of all time. But just take stock of your life, in that you actually have a good career, you have fame, and you are still, again, one of the strongest men on the planet. So life's not all that bad. And yeah, that Tournament of Power invitation it's in the post.
In the post. Okay. Piccolo.
There's more to life than meditating. As in, like, but at the same time, though, that meditating is actually pretty good. I would just like to say, if you like being a father so much, sprout an egg and have a kid of your own. Piccolo Jr.
Sprite and egg. I'm going to use that. Okay, so we have, trying to make sure I say this, Mr. Satan.
Oh, just wake up and smell the coffee, Mr. Satan. Those things are not tricks. As 16 would say in the 60s, they are not tricks. You could die. So, realistically, it's just like, stop relying on excuses and just have faith in your own ability. But at the same time, though, he could easily become a commentator at the end of the day. He's a massively good hype man.
Very true. That's very true. Master Roshi.
Well, I mean, to be honest, in Dragon Ball Super, he actually did a good job in actually going cold turkey. Albeit with Puar and sexually harassing Puar. That makes the begs the question, what gender is Puar? Because Puar's implied to be a dude, or a boy, but then he transforms into a cat girl to try and wean Master Roshi off of women. But it does work. He actually improves at the end of Super, the anime. Then, unfortunately, in the next arc of the series, they forget about that, as is the way with Dragon Ball most of the time these days. But I would just say, just do what you did with Puar, only make it less mentally scarring.
Okay. Vegeta.
Stop fixating on Kakarot. Focus on your kids. Although having said that, with Bulla, he actually is doing a good job with Bulla. Spend more time with your daughter.
Bulma.
Bulma, I think, has actually got it together. As in, like, she's got the money, she's got the talent, she's got the brains. I think, just keep doing what you're doing.
Okay. There's two more. So, Chi-Chi.
Realize that you don't have to be studying 100% of the time. So, you can have a balance of martial arts and scholarly pursuits, in that the martial arts could be really good for stress relief.
I mean, that's not an unfair assessment. And my personal favorite mom, Trunks, is what she wrote.
He doesn't have to always stop fighting androids. Like, just get over the fact you don't have to be a hero all the time. But in all honesty, yeah, Trunks just needs to relax and chill a bit. Like, I don't think I've ever seen Trunks relaxing, ever. He's always tense. Go and get a full body massage, Trunks. I think you need it.
Well, could you say, to play devil's advocate, it's because Vegeta is his father and he always has that throbbing point in his head?
Yeah, but at the same time, Trunks never saw him around when he was growing up, so it has to be inherent in a way.
True. Well, his mother's also a little neurotic. He has been around Bulma a lot.
I guess, but yeah, she does have more assuredness than his dad.
True. Okay, so then this is my question. Who's the better father? Goku or Vegeta? And why?
Krillin. I'm not joking.
I agree that Krillin's but if you had to pick a father, if you had to pick between Goku and Vegeta, who would you pick as your dad and why?
Probably Vegeta. Because sometimes, sometimes for some kind of kids, you can't have a friend all the time. You need someone who, you know where you stand. At least with Vegeta and Trunks, he knows where he stands with Vegeta. And so does Bulla. Whereas with Goku's not a terrible father. To be honest, for Saiyan, it's really, really hard to be a typical Earth dad. It's just that they're not programmed to be that way. So for a Saiyan, Goku's doing not a bad job, but it does leave a question with Gohan. Where does he stand with his dad? That's a little bit iffy. But at least with Vegeta, it's all clear.
That's true. And I also feel like, and this is just my personal opinion, I feel like Vegeta's wife is more of, you are going to be in these children's lives, whether you want it to or not. And Chi-Chi kind of lets Goku go train for however long. And it got to the point when I was watching the series that I wasn't sure how Chi-Chi kept having other kids because it felt like Goku wasn't around, if that makes sense.
Well, the thing was, we did that joke in DBZA that 10 days before the Cell games, Chi-Chi took her opportunity.
just to
do the dirty.
Is that what it is?
And that's when Goten was conceived.
They come home, this is my son? When did that happen? That's sad. That is sad. So Vegeta for you would definitely be your dad over Goku.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were to create your own version of Dragon Ball, so you got to pick what characters to not use and what characters to use, who would be in your ultimate series? Who would be the antagonist and who would be the protagonist?
Oh, well, I've done so many what ifs on that subject. So basically, I have a series of what if. Everyone always think, oh, you're going to do the what if Raditz turned good series, aren't you? No, I'm going to have what if Frieza turned good. I did do that. I've done a full story. You can find the full story compilation on YouTube. It is 3 hours long, so do make yourself comfortable.
I'll link it below so you can have that, so
cool.
People can have reference to that.
Frieza, basically, in that story, he becomes the main protagonist in that he basically blabs accidentally to his dad that Goku got the better of him, and he actually let Goku go, or had mercy. King Cold doesn't like that, and so strips him of his title, and Frieza has to live his life as a drifter. And then King Cold has to make a third Frieza child, and that one is completely insane. Learning from the mistakes of the past, but goes a little too far. So basically, it's just a journey of Frieza discovering that, about the actual, just living a life free from any kind of responsibility or anything like that, and basically becoming the captain of his own little crew. Cowboy Bebop meets Dragon Ball.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome. Yeah.
And the full story is on there. So basically, he ends up joining forces with Goku to fight his insane maniacal brother. And Vegeta again ends up being sort of the antagonist in a way, in that he does a lot of things that mess things up for the main characters, which is what he does in Dragon Ball Z, to be fair.
Very true. That is very true. So in your opinion, in Dragon Ball, can be Dragon Ball Z, GT, onward, who is the strongest fighter and who is the weakest fighter?
Oh, that's easily. Technically, if you're looking for terms of pure strength, is Whis. Whis from Dragon Ball Super, dude. I mean, like, you know, he can fight Broly with one finger. And I know that technically Whis isn't a fighter, but he has that power. But okay, if you had to, it would have to be Dragon Ball Super's Broly. In that, you know, he has that power. He, you know, it could easily improve further than what Goku has. They have to resort to fusion to beat him. So, you know, an individual, it would be that Broly.
Okay. Who's the weakest?
Turtle. He literally has 0.0001 of the battle power.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay, so putting Dragon Ball aside, if you could do it right now without worrying about copyrights and, you know, claims, strikes, whatever, and you could do a brand new abridged series based on another anime, video game, whatever, what would you do?
Oh, I did that back in the day with a series called Kempfer, and I loved that. Was so fun to do. I don't really know. I've not been keeping up with the animes at the moment. It's just been really, really difficult. I mean, I'd like to maybe try Food Wars, perhaps. Maybe the really bad Peter Grylls anime that's been going around lately. You know, somehow like improve on that. You know, just to kind of like, you know, roll with that one because it's getting really bad reviews. So
What's it called?
I don't know what the full title is, but it's something about Peter Grylls or something like that.
Peter Grylls. Well, and it's getting bad reviews?
It's getting bad reviews. It's one of the worst animes of the year.
What?
Or maybe My Sister, My Writer. My Sister, My Writer Abridged. In that, you know, it's so bad that there is a coded message in the end credits in one episode of basically the animation crew are begging for help. Like, they take the characters and make a fake name credit of, like, please help us.
What? Well, see, then that doesn't even merit parroting because it's already a parody of itself, right? So,
well, no, it's just I think they're not joking. They are seriously begging for help.
They're not joking. Well, okay. I'm going to have to look that up now. Now I'm curious because I like to look at obscure and eccentric things. And if the writers and the artists are asking for help and they are legit, I really need to see this because that's freaking hilarious. What about old school anime like Escaflowne? And
maybe Silent Mobius.
Ooh.
Silent Mobius. Project Echo would be good. Do that, you know, reduce that. Tank Police. Tank Police would be fun.
Tank Police.
Dominion Tank Police. That's the one where that's the one where there's that cloud the cloud that's like taken over and the cat twins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know.
For some reason I was thinking Pat Liver and then I'm like, no, that's completely different.
Oh yeah, so. There is Pat Labor as well. Or maybe Record of Lodos War.
Oh yeah.
That as well. Yeah. Definitely. I've actually been working a lot with Manga Entertainment, and they did loads of the anime 90s anime stuff on VHS, and that's like, oh man, I'm working with these guys. It's awesome. I'm working with my childhood in a way. And
how are you working with them?
Oh, I've been collaborating with them with the release of the Dragon Ball Super collection. It's somewhere up there. It's like the entirety of Dragon Ball Super in a collector's box. So I helped promote the release on that. And I also curated one of their Dragon Ball Super quizzes online. As in, like, I made the questions. And people actually praised it for not being patronizingly easy.
Huh.
As in, nobody got all the answers right.
Well, then I applaud you, sir.
It was challenging enough.
That is awesome. Another question from my daughter, because she just likes to do these things. Make sure I read this right. If you could switch the romantic interests of any characters, who would you switch and why?
Okay. I would say Goku and Bulma for a start. That is actually that is quite highly regarded in the fandom, in that it does make sense. And if you look at the fourth ending of the original Dragon Ball, there is a lot of evidence of Bulma sort of pining for Goku in a way, especially and when she did clap eyes on Goku as an adult, she did find him quite hot. Like, and she was like, I never realized Goku was so attractive.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Then she only relented when she saw that Chi-Chi was interested in him. Had she not seen that, or decided to go to hell with that, I'm just gonna go for it, then you could easily see that couple. Then probably Vegeta and Android 18.
Okay.
See that together, because I can imagine that being quite feisty and fiery. And of course, my personal favorite, Raditz and Launch.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I feel like that's a perfect combination.
Okay. My daughter will be thrilled at that. Okay, I got a question from someone else, but I cannot read this name. I am bad at pronouncing usernames. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
What is the best Dragon Ball series in your opinion, and what is a series that was complete trash? This is exact phrasing.
I'd say in terms of trash, that's really not worth your time. Super Dragon Ball Heroes. That's the card-based one. It's just if you turn your brain off and it's just like, hey, if you want to look at something to giggle at for 10 minutes where you see golden metal cooler fighting an ancient evil Saiyan, fine, okay, whatever. But it doesn't lend anything. And also, it is a testimony of how stale the original Dragon Ball art directors are, because Tadayoshi Yamamura, who'd been one of the art directors and lead kind of aesthetic developers of Dragon Ball for 25 years, he got booted off the Broly movie, and then got Super Dragon Ball Heroes. And what that series does is just illustrate to you in really condensed form how formulaic Dragon Ball actually got in terms of the camera shots, the plots, and the actions. It just all seems samey. So really, Super Dragon Ball Heroes is probably the worst. Everyone wants me to say GT. I'm not going to say GT, because GT had a lot of good stuff about it. Like, the animation was pretty good. The music, really good as well. The ideas of it as well, like, General Rildo, Planet M2, the Shadow Dragons, even the Black Star Balls, if you did it in a different way, sort of would work. It's just the execution. Like, there's a story I remember that I think the showrunners wanted to do a grand adventure in space. And then by the time they got to episode 3, they realized this ain't working. They don't have Toriyama. Toriyama helped them with some basic concepts at the beginning, but that was it, in his own time. But ultimately, it was just like, they realized, we've got nothing. Like, we have got nothing. And so they eventually formulated, let's just go back to what Dragon Ball Z did. And that's what they did. And hey, we got Super Saiyan 4 out of it, and Super Saiyan 4 is awesome. Honestly, I would probably say the best one is original Dragon Ball, in that that's the true vision of Toriyama. Dragon Ball Z is good, and, it's very, very iconic, and you cannot deny that. But if you want to have like a good, simple, honest-to-God Dragon Ball experience, the OG Dragon Ball, and it is like much I do with JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. If you want a good JoJo's Bizarre Adventure experience, you watch Part 2 Battle Tendency with Joseph Joestar. That's the best part for me. I'm a Part 2 stan. As in, like, with Joseph Joestar, best character. His advice to anything, the best thing to do is run like hell! And yeah, it's a good part. It's my favorite part out of all of them. But yeah, I would say Dragon Ball if you want to get a good quintessential experience of what it is.
Dragon Ball, yeah. I like GT as well. I like when Vegeta was at the light and those guys were flirting with Bra, and he just sticks his head out the window, like getting ready to pop him. I love it. Those little moments actually in GT were funny to me. Okay. Peter is my stan mate. I don't know. He asked, One Punch Man versus Vegeta, who would win? Wow, that was random.
No. There have been lots of thought experiments about Vegeta and Saitama.
Oh, really?
I imagine, yeah. I've seen a lot of videos of that with Vegeta specifically. Not, yeah, obviously with Goku as well, but with Saitama, I suppose really he'd go very easy. But I think ultimately Saitama would win because he is sort of a gag character, and Vegeta openly admits he does not want to fight gag characters. And yes, of course, when Saitama does a serious punch, that's all. Yeah, that's all very well and good. But the main premise of Saitama is to be a parody of fighting anime, so Vegeta would be extra susceptible to a gag character.
Okay. Amalel. I'm sorry if I butcher this. If you could take Dragon Ball characters and put them in the MCU, who would be who? Oh, wow.
You probably would have to have like Mr. Satan as Captain America. Yeah, because he's
I
the
can see
ultimate hype
that.
man. Especially during the 40s, he would have definitely been like that. Bulma, I'd have probably had them in place of like Bulma would be Rescue, basically, as in like Pepper Potts' iron armor suit. Probably, and with Yamcha being Iron Man. With Goku, probably Adam, basically. Oof. Gohan. Oof. There are just so many characters to do. But incidentally, there's a series I work with called Geeks for Fun, and they do an actual Dragon Ball DC crossover where they have Gohan as Superboy, and I play Gohan in that. So it's a good little. That's a good little kind of thought experiment. So that's my recommendation out to you all.
So okay, so I'll adapt the MCU. We'll go into the DC universe. So Gohan is Superboy?
Yes, in that one, in that particular universe.
Are there other dragons? You said there's a merge, right? Where they're just making.
Yes.
So who's who in that series? I'm curious now.
Oh, I can't really remember per se. You need to go and watch the series to get.
Okay, I'll get these links from you before I post this, because I'm very curious.
I will be sure to do that.
But hey, since I am a Marvel, DC, Dark Horse, IDW girl, so I love them all. Milestone.
I think you'd enjoy this.
I think I would love that. But now you piqued my interest. So MML, I'm sorry, we're gonna ask a DC Comics question. Who would you put in the DC comic? Let's just do Justice League, because there's way too many teams, too many parallel multiverses. Just Justice League. It could be, if you haven't read the comics, it could literally just be the old JSA cartoon that had the standard, the Wonder Twins. Who would you put from the Dragon Ball? And you can do the main Dragon Ball characters that we all know and love, and people watched on Toonami. Who would you put into the DC Justice League?
Probably Piccolo.
Piccolo?
I'd say Piccolo because he'd be just like the quiet sage one. He does have power. He's not a flashy show-off person. He's the one that's always looming in the shadows.
Okay, so like Martian Manhunter, maybe?
Yeah, sort of, yeah.
Okay.
Then probably you gotta have Krillin. You need the spunky, young, peppy, go-getter. That everyone thinks, oh, Krillin's a coward. Krillin's not a coward. He's been in every single battle of Dragon Ball in some capacity. He's always willing to help.
So I'm going to adapt them for you. So maybe Krillin could be the Flash. Barry Allen's Flash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I imagine probably Vegeta would be is the character who would be who once was against the Justice League, but then becomes part of it.
That's a lot of characters. Honestly, I would see Vegeta as Batman.
Probably, yeah.
Because, yeah, he's got that standoffish nature, yeah.
Yeah, and he has no parents.
He has no parents. And he's always angry. I can see that.
Yeah, I would probably say, Gohan could be a good thing for Robin.
Yeah,
Gohan I can see that. And Goku obviously would be like a Superman allegory.
Yeah, so Goku would be Superman.
Yeah.
I like this. I like this game. What about picking a couple of the females? Because I can find characters. So just what females would you put in?
Oh, I'm not really sure. Nah, you got me there.
I'm stomping him. Okay, so
Again,
Videl.
I'm not really averse with the comic world, I'm afraid.
Oh, it's fine. I got you. So I think that Videl would actually be very good as Batwoman.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think I could see her in the Bat family. Chi-Chi would be hard because she's strong, but I'm always like, she's just waiting for Goku to come home all the time. So I'm like, who would wait? Chi-Chi. I think if I had to cast Chi-Chi in the DC universe, the DC Comics universe, I would probably make her Black Canary.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So she would be Black Canary. Bulma would straight up be Wonder Woman for me because she's got the attitude. I like how she goes off on Vegeta. She doesn't need a man. She can do everything she needs on her own. That's a Wonder Woman mentality. So yeah, I like that. So
nice.
Now I really want to do Dragon Ball Justice League. I think that would be really cool.
Well, that idea, you're welcome to that idea.
Well, the moment I do that, I'll get a copyright strike. But like we already know this. But no, I think that is a very cool concept, like just to incorporate. I mean, it could have been done in the comic world. They do take a lot of anime. They do take other, basically really popular series and incorporate it into comics. Like we've had X-Men go to the TARDIS in Doctor Who. So, it's not unheard of that could be a thing. So
yeah, and Toyotaro, who is the current artist for the Dragon Ball Super manga, is very much known for being a Marvel fan.
That's
and
true.
Also, in Captain Marvel, come on, that was a Super Saiyan reference. Her powering up, that was a Super Saiyan shot. The scroll, those are Namekians. Just in that movie, they look more like Namekians, and it's just like some creative directors for Captain Marvel are Dragon Ball fans.
Yeah, I wonder how far back that goes, because Shazam in DC's universe is the original Captain Marvel, and people don't realize that.
Yes, of course.
So I do think it morphed a lot by anime, like the actual image, the powers, everything got morphed a lot or inspired by. Sometimes I think it's Dragon Ball, Power Rangers. There's so many references. Whenever I see characters come in like primary colored suits, I'm like, yeah, it's totally Sentai, so yeah, I think it's a cool concept, but yeah, I really like this question. I mean, you've got something with the MCU, so now I've got the DC thing in my head. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but good question. Okay, so I'm going to try and say this. Liberator of righteousness to cure your faults. Okay, he would like to know, and I'm going to try and say this. What is your favorite Dragon Ball game, and how do you feel it adapted, or how do you feel it has been adapted from the TV series? Was it good or bad?
Dragon Ball Fusions for the 3DS. It's basically where you can fuse hundreds of Dragon Ball characters together, and it has a story. It's really good, and I really wish that one day that there is a Switch port, like an HD remake of Dragon Ball Fusions. It was such a fun game. I did a playthrough of it. It was just a really fun time. I would say that's probably the most refreshing Dragon Ball game in a very long time.
I love Scylla. That's probably from Motherland, Fort Salem. I like your username. Asked, I like your hair, MasakoX. It looks like a Super Saiyan. Do you cut it that way, or is it natural?
For the most part, I do admit that, especially during lockdown, I usually have my mum cut my hair. Just because it's like, you got to be resourceful. Hairdressers here are very, hard to find, especially when they're open.
Yeah.
But lately, though, my wife did cut my hair one time, and just before she was about to do that, she basically said, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm like, thanks. But she did a good cut. But yeah, no, we got like loads of hairdressers. I usually go to the hairdressers around the corner. But usually I either, if I don't have time, or if obviously there's a lot, pandemic, I would rely on my mum or my wife. But I usually don't. I'm really bad with getting my hair cut. I usually wait like 3 months, and it gets all ridiculous. And then when people in the comments go, Masako, cut your hair. Yeah, the comments are telling me to cut my hair. That's when I need to cut my hair.
I mean, yeah. Like, it's pretty sad though when they call you out right in your comment section. But
no, it's just it's happened so long now. I just accept it. I'm like, yeah, they're not wrong.
Makes sense. XXY003. You guys are killing me with these usernames. Have you ever thought about adapting a series, abridged or parody of a mecha series like Macross or Gundam?
I would like, if I had to pick one, it would probably be either Knights of Sidonia or Nadesco. Because Nadesco is my favorite anime ever.
Mine too. I love Nadesco.
Really?
I have a Yukina doll. I have Ruri doll over there. Ruri's right there with has Baka like literally on there. I used to have the ship. I had the model of the ship, but when we moved, it got destroyed. So all I have left is the Galaxy Quest. I'm so mad.
There is a Ruri figure out there somewhere. And I do have the cat costume Ruri somewhere.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, and I do have. Actually, somewhere up there. Oh yeah, up there, up top. Let me just angle the camera up a bit. That's Nadesco. That's the complete collection. I have like 3 versions of Nadesco. My brother got me a bootleg version back in 2004. I have the ADV one right before they lost the license.
I have the ADV one.
Yeah, I have that one too. And I also have that one. So the right stuff, the Nozomi Entertainment one. And again, it just makes me really sad that, Nadesco, it was so close to becoming a proper IP. So close. No. If only the movie didn't suck. No, the movie didn't. It wasn't. It sucked. It was depressing.
It was dark.
This isn't Nadesco.
It was very dark.
Akito and emo. Oh my god.
Yeah.
What happened there? I don't mind. And also, it's an excuse for people to simp and crush on Ruri without feeling bad because she's now 16.
Yes, it's
true. It's you don't have to feel so bad.
But Ruri is always my favorite character, so
Ruri is mine too.
She's my favorite character.
Ruri is as well because again, Omi Minami, favorite Seiyu, really really good. Shame she doesn't really do much these days, but she's really good. It's just such a. It started off. It was at a time when I think mecha anime were really really in the doldrums, post G Gundam, and it was just not. There wasn't really much going on. So Nadesco's just a parody.
Well, and I loved it for that because I'm a big Gundam fan. So if you see Macross 7 Firebomber, then to me Nadesco was like another version of Firebomber, but without cheesy music and a funnier plot. So,
I usually describe Nadesco and Evangelion as a sister anime because they both have Yuji Ueda in the main role. They're both whiny crybabies at the start who don't want to pilot the giant robot. Only Akito will do it eventually. But basically, it is basically about giant robots and, a very unknown threat. But it ultimately actually gets really dark by the 3rd disc. You go and when you find out the actual true villains are now, I won't spoil it for anyone, but it's just these ragtag civilians go why are we doing this? And then I just will never forget that moment when Ruri smiles for the first time and the main mechanic just goes Ruri smiled. And it's oh my god. And it's just such a good series. And I have a copy of the Saturn game, The Blank of 3 Years. I have that copy of that.
Oh, wow.
And I'll always try and find an excuse to find the Nadesco memorabilia if I can. I don't know. I feel like I want to do something because it's the 25th anniversary next year. I want to do something for it. I don't know what, though.
Yeah, first of all, I actually want to get my Nadesco back. I need because the only thing I have left now that was not destroyed that were ship models, this is from Galaxy Quest, the movie with Tim Allen and Sigourney Weaver. And then I have 2 versions of the Enterprise. I have OG, NC, and I have if you're a Trekkie, then I'm going to shut up. When I actually start saying my model numbers, then it starts in conversations about Treks, and then I don't want to get creamed. But
to be fair, in my thesis at school, I did. It was mostly about Trekkers.
Yeah, Trekkies are very passionate, and some of them are very aggressive. So
much like some Dragon Ball fans, don't worry.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. It's every fandom, honestly. but Trekkies seem to have had a longer history of being aggressive because the show is so old. So in the premise, so every variation of Star Trek becomes a question about how could you do this to Roddenberry's legend. So I learned my lesson, but I have Spock over here. I have, I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I just don't like to go on about it because I don't want to get creamed in my comments.
Oh, by the way, fun fact. I noticed you've got Neptune and Uranus back there.
I do. And I have Artemis too.
Did you know that back in the day, I was in a fan dub with one Corey Maddox, and I got 2 roles in that. I was Artemis in that, obviously, and the other one was Setsuna, Sailor Pluto.
Well, when I did a fan dub, you were actually, in one of mine, you were Tuxedo Mask.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was I did wide range of that, but I played Sailor Pluto in one, and people were actually going like, "That's actually really, really good," and I actually surprised myself.
I would love to hear your Pluto voice.
Oh well, it's kind of like a let me try and remember the line. In between time and space and normal twists, I've seen things that I've never seen before in my life. Just like, as in, like, you got to keep it. It's the Stephen Fry school of thought. Whenever he did Professor Trelawney in the audiobooks, he was like, "Don't try and put a falsetto voice on it. That just sounds stupid. Just like you just got to bring the bass down a bit wispier, and that's enough to get the message across." And I was like 19 at the time. I had a higher voice than normal. You remember?
Yeah.
But it's just like it's a bit harder to do these days, but. Usually for my what ifs, I usually try and do female voices, and it's usually enough to get the point across.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've heard you do female voices before, so.
Yeah, it was my party piece back in the day.
Yeah.
In Naruto Abridged, I did voice Hinata and Ino, most famously. And with the Hinata one, it made people more extremely uncomfortable. And in Danganronpa Abridged, I think Valera did that one. I played Chihiro in that. So, yeah, that was fun to do. But yeah, nowadays it's just like, no, it's just to do that. It's just a bit silly,
but fun. I think the silliest roles are the funnest.
Fun at the time, definitely.
Yeah. Okay, so this is not Dragon Ball related. So here we go. But to be fair, the other ones weren't either. So I'm gonna try and say this: Randy Lavelle, Luvelle. We're going with that. I apologize if I butchered your name, if that's your real name. Are you an Avatar fan? If so, Aang or Korra? Oh Lord. And if Aang, why? I guess they're Korra fans.
I actually haven't watched Avatar.
Oh, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't. I mean, it's on Netflix now, so I guess if we have time, Philly and I can, do that. But never got round to Avatar because it was on Nickelodeon at the time, and I didn't have access to Nickelodeon.
Makes sense. I like them both. I love Korra, hence the 2 Funko dolls behind me. But Legend of Korra and The Last Airbender are both very good series, but it is very split in the fandom. So you have dodged a bullet, Masako, because this would have put some comments in. Because whenever I talk about it, we especially in the live stream, it gets rowdy. So you've dodged a bullet here. Okay, let's see. I tried to write these down because my printer didn't work, so hopefully I didn't butcher a lot of these. Samuel T. Is that Samuel T? Yeah. Okay, are you a Power Rangers fan? That's random.
I think you know the answer to that.
Yeah, I know the answer to that one.
My mainly thing is that I'm not really deep into the lore of Power Rangers. My main jam is basically the roll calls and the music. As in, like, the music is my jam, and the history behind it and the roll calls. Pretty much. So
then let me specify. Is it the Sentai that you like or the Power Rangers music that you like? Because they're very different.
I do like them both. I do. Like, okay. I do like them a lot, especially if you put Ron Wasserman on. SPD is a good track. Dino Charge is a good track. Dino Charge is really good. And Ninja Steel, I sort of like. But then at the same time, you do kind of back in the day, I wasn't really a fan of some of the Sentai ones, but nowadays I have an appreciation for Gingaman. Yeah, that's one's good.
Gingaman. Yeah. I probably am going to get flagged now because I just did that, but
but
love Gingaman.
Yeah, I mean, they're all really good, really. But I suppose the one from the earlier days is, when you get to like the city pop moment of like Flashman. No, Flashman's always good.
Yeah.
And Jetman.
Jetman is one of my favorites, and Five Man. I just something about siblings being raised by a robot and then all becoming teachers when they're older is just hilarious to me.
Yeah. And it's just they're just all really good. And Ninja Storm is good for like it's like brand new Disney ABC. We're going like on a brand new direction, and the ABC ones are quite good bangers, I will say.
SPD was good.
Mystic Force. No.
Yeah, Mystic Force had so it had its moments. They tried to stay a little bit true, but I mean, obviously they couldn't all be siblings.
Ron Wasserman's one because he did a Mystic Force demo, and that one was good.
Yeah.
Oh, no, Operation Overdrive. No. And RPM is just dumb. Power Rangers RPM, we stand together.
Though I do like the fact that what was the Green Ranger's name? Why did his name go out of my head? There's a scene when they're talking to the doc, and they're like, "Why are my Zord's eyes blinking all the time?" And when I do my thing, why is fire behind me? Could that cause
like Gornja is meant to be quite kiddie, and RPM is like apocalypse. But honestly, the one I'm sad that it's not going to be adapted because it's Tokyoja.
I love. Oh my gosh. So check this out. So my friend lives in Japan and he got me a Tokanger, like the changer with 3 trains, and it's coming in the mail. So I'm going to do an unboxing video.
I went to Tokyo 2 years ago and I know about the London Underground. I'm very versed in that. So when I went on the whole JR line and stuff like that, I'm like, I fall in love with this. And we stayed in Okachimachi, and that's on the Yamanote line. And you just go around that. And the fact that the majority of them, I mean, some of them do have duplicates, tones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's just nice. Like the New York subway, we were there for 5 days, Philly and I, my wife, and we only got the hang of it by the time we had to leave. Within 2 days, we were there in Tokyo for 2 weeks. Got used to it. And it's like, I love this train system. I love it. It's just nice. I just want to like get to the front and actually look at the train line. I do.
See, I want to do
like
that
the
too.
Different tones, and it's just nice.
Yeah, I really want to. We're going to go to Seoul because my spouse is Korean, so we're gonna obviously not anytime soon, but that's our plan. And I heard that they have a similar setup with their trains and their subways. So I am excited to be able to get around because we don't have a very good transit system where I live right now. If you do not have a car, you will get nowhere. Unless you Uber. So.
Oh no, I hear you.
Yeah, but I love this Power Rangers chat. So this is bringing up a question. What did you think about Mega Force and Super Mega Force?
I felt like, from what I could tell, Mega Force is fine. Super Mega Force, it's like it was just that time where it's like, oh, let's just expand these for 2 seasons and catch up really quickly. It's just like Super Gokaiger. It should have been its own thing. And it's just like, I'm glad that they at least kept the prism forms, like the old costumes sometimes. It's like, wow, new forms!
I hated that though. Oh my gosh. I hated when they would get so randomly we'd have Bioman's suit and it's like, oh, a new power. And I'm like, no, they should have had a reference or said this is from another planet, something. It's just like, oh, this new form we have. I'm like,
I thought that's what they were trying to do.
Well, they literally were saying that these were future Rangers or Rangers from the past, but they never said they were from another planet. They never said, they didn't give it much backstory. It was just like if a new suit showed up, it's either future or past Ranger. It drove me insane because I'm a huge Gokaiger fan. Gokaiger has actually become my favorite Sentai. I love it. Love it. So Megaforce, Super Megaforce was hard for me. It was very hard for me, especially what did they call the ship? Zordon's Revenge. That's what it was called. I was like, oh.
Although, to be honest, the one power I'm sad that Gokaiger didn't replicate was Shinken Brown. Richard Brown!
I think they had another, what was it? Which Sentai had an,
it was Ryo Kyoru Shian.
No, I know Kira because
It's
There
purely
was but there was another one. Oh, it's gonna drive me nuts now. Abba Ranger, I think, had a mailman who tried to take one of their bracelets, and he was riding on a bike, and he tried to grab the Blue Ranger's pension bracelet. I have to go back and watch it, but it was effing hilarious. Him trying to transform, and he barely spoke Japanese, and it was hilarious. But yeah, we don't get those transitions even with I think what we're getting next, we're getting Rule Soldier. So I think they're calling it Dino Fury.
Oh, great. Another Dino device.
And we're like, Dino Knights was like right there. How did you? I mean, that was the premise of that series. How did you mess that up? Like it was literally.
Well, I mean, if they did Goldbuster was the closest one. It had its morphin time in the original Sentai one. It's just like, okay, all right.
Yeah, but I always felt like Go Buster was trying to imitate the Power Rangers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's actually, it made sense, but I was surprised they didn't do that sooner.
I know, and with Hasbro now saying that this is the last live action Power Ranger series we're ever going to get.
Really?
Yeah, they're moving. They're moving into the movies, and they want to do. Their Boom Comics they're doing very well, so they're trying to adapt that with Netflix. Some people are speculating that it will probably be all animated series and things like that. So yeah, but they did announce that they're splitting from Toei, so they're not going to be using Toei after this upcoming series in February.
Oh dang!
So yeah, big news in the Power Ranger world.
Huh.
But yeah, they have signed on a director for. Looks like a 3-picture deal, so he will be reinventing the Power Rangers.
Right.
I think one was supposed to be set in the original MMPR timeline, so you have the present Rangers, but being shifted back in time.
Right, okay.
So Back to the Future Rangers, I don't know, but they're doing their own thing.
And it's another chance to whittle in Jason David Frank, Ray Austin St. John, Amy Jo Johnson. You're available.
I mean, they're traveling the circuit.
Yeah, Walter Jones. Come on, bring the old gang
They
back.
probably get Catherine Sutherland back, and let's see, Nakia Burrise played Aisha. She's always on social media. They even have channels
Johnny
about it.
Youngbosh
So.
will come, absolutely, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's Johnny.
But yeah, I get on a tangent with Power Rangers and Sentai because it's my jam.
Bryan Cranston another go. He enjoyed his time.
Yeah.
Genuinely had fun.
Yeah, he did. He did have fun. Okay, so I got one more from them. This is a weird question, so I'm going to see if hopefully I will say this correctly. So Adam and Evil, AVAL, Adam and Evil, would like to know how you would cast a horror DBZ movie.
In what way?
So I guess from my understanding, and if I'm incorrect, I apologize, Adam Evil. Are you saying who you would cast in a horror movie with Dragon Ball characters? That's what I think he's meaning.
Well, technically, the curse of the Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle is a horror movie. You just you'd have Lucifer in there as the main bad guy, and you just have Goku, Bulma, and Yamcha, having them as the trio fighting an evil dark vampire who's trying to steal the sun. There you go. I just say look to that movie.
It's like, I don't think I've even seen that.
Yeah, it's the second Dragon Ball movie.
Huh. Okay. So I must have missed that. So that was considered a horror, but that was was it considered a horror or to you?
Considered a horror, but it's Toriyama's subversion, so here it swings and roundabouts.
Okay, so if let's do American Horror Story. So just to make my little viewer who asked this question happy. So who would you put in American Horror Story as the killer? And then we'll just say 4, I'm going to say victims because normally they don't survive in those.
Probably have Nappa as the killer or something like that. Nappa because they're barbaric and stuff like that. You're going to have Android 18, probably Krillin, who you think is going to be the first one to die, but actually ends up being the one that survives. Then probably Vegeta, the loud one that basically gives away everyone all the time. And then Yamcha.
I mean, yeah, I can totally see. I can see Yamcha being the poor guy who's like, well, let's go hide behind the chainsaws. Why don't we get in the running car? I'm like, what are you, nuts? That is hilarious. But yeah, so those are the questions that I had. So, or from some of my viewers and my daughter. Thank you, Mai. So I guess my question is, what is next? What are you working on right now? I know we already talked a little bit about that, but what's next for MasakoX?
Well, basically, it's just more what ifs and trying to figure out what I'm going to do for my 500,000 subscriber special. As in, like, try to figure out what I'm going to do, where we can go after the pandemic kind of lifts. You know, do something special. But other than that, it's just pretty much just steady as she goes, really.
Okay. Well, I thank you so much for being on the ATN channel. You are always welcome back. And I'm sure now that I know that we have these great Power Ranger and Nadesco conversations, that might be a reality. But again, guys, please check out his YouTube channel. I will link it below, as well as some of the links that he talked about, because I won't remember them. So I will be sure to get them from him, and I will link them below. So click, subscribe, and like. And if you have not subscribed to ATN, what is wrong with you? Do it. But yeah. MasakoX, thank you for being here. And until next time, guys, thank you.
See ya.
Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it. But hey, the party doesn't have to stop now. Click on one of these videos and keep it going.